Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Reporter's Notebook. If you haven't tuned into Reporter's Notebook before, it's just a conversation that we have with a reporter about their story and maybe try to get a more in-depth analysis of what they covered. Today, we have our morning reporter, Aaron. Aaron, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. So, if I'm correct, this is your second time on Reporter's Notebook, right?
Yes, this is my second time. It's been, a few months. I think I did it when we first started doing these.
Okay.
And I haven't been back since, but it's nice to be back in the digital studio.
Yes.
To do them with you today.
Okay, all right, awesome. So can you tell us what your story was today?
Yeah, so this morning, I did a story about National Preparedness Month, and September serves as that designated month. And really, it's just a push from emergency managers across the country, and especially here in our state, to encourage people to get their disaster plans together. Because as we know, natural disasters aren't going to be like, okay, we're going to wait for you to get your stuff together, and then you get together and then it hits. No, the natural disasters are coming. So you always have to be ready. And that's really what this is all about. And especially this go around, they're really having people push to include their children and their entire families in on these conversations about their disaster plans, especially in situations where, let's say, like a kid gets separated from their parents or whatever. They need to know who to call, where to go, what to do. So just so that all families are not caught off guard by these storms that may come through or just any natural disaster in general.
Can you tell us maybe some tips or, tips to prepare us for hurricanes or any sort of natural disasters that might be coming up within the next few months?
Well, yeah, as you know, here we are in the middle of peak hurricane season. So it's definitely important to make sure you have some ready cash on hand, just because, if the power goes out, your ATM card is not going to work. Also, especially with us being in the middle of this pandemic, make sure you have your sanitizer, your extra masks, things like that. And also, along with that point, too, a lot of, I spoke with the someone with the Pitt County Emergency Management too, and they were saying one of the biggest concerns that emergency managers have is the pandemic and dealing with shelters, because you don't want a whole bunch of random people, lots of random people coming together, because they'll be safe from the storm, but then you have concerns about spreading the virus as well. So they're encouraging people to definitely contact close family and close friends, maybe those who live more inland, to stay with them. So, we're not spreading this virus worse than what it's currently happening. Also, something else to kind of keep in mind is knowing your evacuation zone. You can definitely visit WNCT-TV.gov. They'll help you figure out what's called Know Your Zone. You'll know where you need to go, what you need to do, and things like that. So.
Yeah, and so have you? I'm assuming since you've lived in North Carolina, you've experienced a hurricane before, right?
Yeah.
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 And so, looking back on your own experiences, what are some things that you're like, maybe I should change this in the future, or maybe there was one particular instance where you kind of learned, okay, I need to do this instead of this. Do you have any of those personal anecdotes that you can add?
Honestly, I would just simply say, to the other points I made, is preparing early. I think a lot of times, we're like, oh, okay, here's the named storm now, and it travels closer and closer and closer. You're like, oh, okay, I'll just start getting ready once it happens. But, things happen very quick. And our meteorologists will tell you that, one day that could be projected, storm could be 12 days out. Next thing you know, it's 5. It just depends. And, we can definitely have, our first meteorologists explain how those things work and how serious those things can rapidly change. But just being prepared ahead of time, whether we're in hurricane season or not, just having that together is just something that I've definitely learned. Whether it's just, in our case as reporters, having snacks ready when we go out and do coverage, or just extra pairs of clothes, just things like that. Not waiting until the last minute, because you'll save yourself lots of stress and anxiety on an already stressful and anxious time.
And I know Labor Day weekend is coming up. Are there any tips for Labor Day weekend or anything like that?
So you guys will have to, turn on, morning edition from 4:30 to 7 tomorrow morning to kind of get a preview of my story there. I spoke with an officer with the State Highway Patrol, and really they are pushing their Booze It or Lose It campaign. And really the main thing that people need to be mindful of is their distractions, their speed, and their alcohol intake. Really the best advice that, kind of give you just a little bit of preview. I don't want to tell you everything, but really, if you can, take a Uber, take a Lyft. Also, or have a designated driver in place. Just know that there will be an increased amount of officers on the road patrolling, making sure that people stay safe. Quick statistic, just last year, there were over 1,300 collisions reported. 12 of those ended in one or more deaths. So, they're really pushing to make sure all those numbers are lowered. So be smart. Don't do anything crazy.
All right. Yeah, of course. Something that we all should be aware of is driving safely, no matter, if it's in bad weather or good weather, because you never know who's out there, and you never know, you might look one way and look the other, but then again, sometimes there are collisions that happen, and just driving within even the speed limit can help save someone's life.
Don't text and drive either. Don't text and drive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, a fun question before we close out the day.
Switching gears, as we say.
Yeah, okay. What about your Labor Day plans? Anything exciting?
Sleep.
Sleep?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And
awesome.
Look, if y'all got a cookout going on, socially distant, fewer than 25 people, masks, 6 feet apart, cookout, I'll just come back, get a plate, and leave.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, Aaron. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
And
I hope to come back again. I really want to come back.
Of course. All right. Bye.
Bye.